Today on Catching Up, I'm here with Logan Cash Montgomery. And a lot of people know him as Big Logan. Why are you known as Big Logan?
Well, that would probably be because I'm big, larger than most people in the population. I'm about 6'6", 315 pounds.
Yeah, that would make you larger than your average population. Now, some people call it a personality trait, being big. Would you say that's true?
Well, I kind of have to shape my everyday daily activities around being big. I can't fit through some doors. So yes, I would definitely say that that's a personality trait. There's a lot of things that I do differently than I would if I was a little bit smaller.
Okay, that's very nice. So being big has made you a good athlete, but I think there's a lot more to it than that people take for granted. You're a guy that has worked hard, put the effort in, and that's evident in some of your achievements. Do you care to highlight some of those achievements for us?
Absolutely. So last year I was fortunate enough to compete in the GHSA state championships for track and field, and I was able to bring back to Rossville 2 of the state titles for the shot put and the discus, won both of those. And in the past year I've also competed on the national stage twice, and I was able to get All-America honors for 4 different events in the sport of track and field. So that's nice. I've won our regional track meet, I believe it is 3 times for shot put and discus. Sectionals the same amount of times. So all those accolades have come through hard work and as many people believe, being big. So.
Well, this man has shown an incredible amount of resilience. I know there's a lot of times where he has been hurt and dealing with PT and dealing with a lot of the things that goes along with being an athlete and some of the struggles that his body gave to him. And he just continues to exceed expectations and compete at a high level despite such adversity. And I have a lot of respect for that.
Well, I thank you, Doug.
You know, me and Cash, we have a lot of experience together. I've known him since the 8th grade. I took out his eye one time.
True story.
Yeah, you care to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so old Doug here taught me how to Dougie, as my classmates put it. When we were freshmen, we got quite aggressive on the basketball court, and long story short, his pinky finger ended up in my eye socket, and I couldn't see out of that eyeball for the rest of the day, but it's a funny story that we like to look back on, and I always give him a hard time for.
Well, let's just say PE basketball freshman year was like the most intense basketball around.
Most intense game of basketball you've ever seen.
I mean, it was insane. There was people, we were tapping heads every day. I mean, you know, and when you're slightly less athletic, you have a tendency to compensate with aggressiveness. And let's just say I was doing that when I always like to play defense, and you know, got a little too aggressive, and Cash nearly lost an eye, but
something
as you
like
open
that.
your eyes wide and prove to them you still have both of them.
Yeah, right there. Battle scars. Ever since that day, I've worn goggles playing PE basketball.
Very nice. Well, I'm proud that you learned a lesson.
Me too.
Yeah.
Very humbling experience.
All right. Well, you know, once you get to the Olympics, I'll be a little brag of mine that I took out your eye one time.
Yes, sir. I'll give you that shout out for sure.
Okay, thank you. So show them this hat. There's a little bit of story behind this.
There is. This is the hat that I got when I went on my official visit to Florida. I got it on the second day there. I wanted to wear it to the football game where they played Vanderbilt. And this hat, I proudly claim, is the only hat that I have in my possession that fits me well. Being a big person, as we talked about earlier, I have a larger than average head, and I need a larger than average hat for that. And this does a great job of fitting on my voluminous head. So that's the story behind it. That was that I was wearing on the car drive home when I was committed to Florida and when I got my offer. So it's a pretty sweet little memory right here. It's packed full of good vibes for me.
Well, that's good. I understood you met Tim Tebow while you were down there.
I did, and he's a lot bigger than he looks in his Instagram pictures. He made me feel small, even though I was taller than him. You just gotta admire a man when his arms are the size of tree trunks. So, a lot of admiration for that guy.
Well, that's fantastic. So anyway, so Cash Montgomery is a good guy. I've known him a long time. We did High Point Productions together. Now, what all skits were you in?
I believe I was only in the fret, which is objectively the best thing that's ever come out of High Point Productions, because it had the Walker McBriar in it. You guys probably know that guy, but that was a lot of fun. I don't think I was in any other ones that I can think off the top of my head. I may have been in another one.
Dr. Bill, I think.
That's right. Yeah. Where we took
the van.
Yeah, we took the van out off 93. That was a lot of fun too. But yeah, Dr. Bill and the Fret. You haven't watched those, you better go watch them. So that was a lot of fun.
All right, so we've caught up with Cash Montgomery on all these things. Let's get some Snapchat questions and go from there. All right, so Camden asked, how does it feel to be the absolute best?
Feels pretty good. I wouldn't consider myself the best. I always think about what's to come instead of where I'm at. I always like to, we live in the present, but I'm thinking about my future a lot. I still have a lot of room to grow, and I'm working towards that every day, but I think to be known as one of the best track athletes to come out of Ridgeland High School, it's an honor, and to know that I can represent my community under that insignia, if you will. But it feels really good to be at the top of the ladder right now, and with a great group of guys that are out there working with me every day too.
That's awesome, Cash. 2 state championships. I think you've earned, that title in at least some perspectives.
For sure.
Hopefully you continue this career and take it a step further.
Yes, sir.
So Tanner asked, do you miss me?
Is that Tanner Knight?
It is.
I think about you every day, Tanner. I wished you a happy birthday, and you responded to that. That made my day. Hopefully it made yours better too. So yes, of course.
So Becca asked, did you ever see yourself being a Florida Gator?
Actually, it sounds cliche, but I did. When I was in 8th grade, throwing that little 1 kilogram discus about 160 feet, I was like, I'm either going to be a Georgia Bulldog, because everybody in the state of Georgia who plays a sport wants to be a Georgia Bulldog, or a Florida Gator. And those are my top 2 from the get-go. And things changed. Eventually, my top 2 were Kennesaw State and Florida, but it's kind of funny to think back how I had that realization, and it's almost, I would say it's a coincidence, but I like to say that I also knew way back then that this was home. So
that's fantastic. That'll be exciting. So Bree asked kind of a follow-up question. What are your goals while attending Florida?
I'm not too sure yet. My goal right now, thinking forward, is to make an immediate impact on the program, whether that be placing at SECs or, best case scenario, placing highly at the national championship. Really, my goal going forward is just to be the best version of myself possible. And I think with that will come the accolades of placing highly in those kinds of conference meets and those big stages.
Well, that sounds good. Now, Nick asked, why are you so tall?
That I would say is a secret, but it's actually because I ate all of my vegetables growing up. Is that Nick Guthrie?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so if I were you, Nick, I would recommend eating your vegetables. A lot of broccoli, Brussels sprouts are really good. I know you probably don't know a lot about that kind of stuff, but it's worth a shot because you're pretty short.
Whoa, throwing shade at Nick here.
Never. I love you, Nick.
Oh, man, to Nick. All right, so one last question. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I actually have a reminder set in my phone for, I think, 8 years from now, just asking myself, where am I? 10 years from now, it'll be 2032. Yeah. My goal and what I have in the back of my head going forward is to compete at the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. So hopefully 10 years from now, it'll be the Olympics after that, because they go by 4 years, and I'll be thinking about getting another medal after the one I got in Los Angeles. That's where I hope to be.
Well, that's fantastic, Cash, and I wish you the best. You have the work ethic, the talent, and I know you'll do great things.
I appreciate that, Doug.
Well, thank you, Cash. It was good catching up with you.
Great catching up with you, Doug. Go Gators.